All right, and 3, 2, 1. All right, what's going on, guys? Larry here. Haven't hit you all with a video in the past couple of weeks. Life has just been lifing. Things outside the gym, things at work, things at home have kind of made me put the kibosh on filming a lot of content, but I try to do what I can, at least in the YouTube sphere. So I thank you guys for sticking around with me and staying locked into the channel. But if you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, please do. I'll definitely be putting out some more stuff as we wind down 2023, leading into 2024. And it'll be more videos like this where, I'm sitting down talking with you guys because I just haven't really felt like filming a lot of my gym workouts. And where I work out at kind of looks down upon that. So I just want to respect the gym's wishes and just do things of that nature where we're talking and I'm talking on a particular subject. But today we're talking about something that all of us bodybuilding fans have waited on all year, and I'm talking about the Olympia weekend, specifically the Mr. Olympia. If you're unfamiliar with the Mr. Olympia, or if you're new to bodybuilding, it is the top show of the year on the professional circuit, and it's basically why a lot of us become bodybuilders. We have this dream of standing on stage with the best in the world, and this dream of having the Sandow Trophy given to us. So many people have been able to accomplish that, or at least have some resemblance of success and be able to step on that stage. So kudos to you if you've been able to step on that Olympia stage, or if you're still trying to find a spot or trying to get good at professional bodybuilding. Please continue to push that envelope, continue to work really hard, and I believe good things will come to you. So I'm going to say that I generally don't like doing these type of assessment videos, which is what this is today. I used to do assessments way back in the day when Muscle Mayhem was around, when message boards were around. I don't do them anymore. I like to do them sometimes, and I think this is a good enough field where I can do them. But I just don't do it. A lot of sensitivity gets involved. I wasn't the most respectful gentleman back in the day, so I may have said something that may have pissed off a few competitors. But hey, that was 20-something-year-old Larry, and now it's 40-something-year-old Larry. And I don't do these very often. So I just want to take time and just go through a few of the competitors, not all. While all are deserving, all will not make it to the top 10. Definitely all will not make it to the top 5. So I'm just trying to stick to the top 5 and a couple of spots below that. But again, if you've made the Olympia stage, you've done twice as much as me, 4 times, 5 times as much as me in terms of bodybuilding. So you definitely deserve your kudos and your props for that. But we're going to jump right into it. The biggest news of this week involving the Olympia is the withdrawing of Nick Walker from the lineup due to a torn hamstring. First off, I want to give a big shout out to Nick, and this is only a setup so you can come back even stronger. So hopefully this doesn't deter him from trying to get back on stage, and I know this meant a lot to him. So it's just kind of sad to see somebody that was going to be at their best and show pictures and video that they would be at their best, and now that's taken away from them. So my heart goes out to Nick Walker. But honestly, with him being out, it doesn't change a lot of the top 5, in my opinion. He was going to land somewhere within that top 5, probably within that top 3. Could have been competitive for a win, to be quite honest with you. But things don't change that much. So when I think of the Olympia top 5, I think of the best of bodybuilding and what that encompasses as far as shape, size, symmetry, condition. Those are the things that I'm looking at as somebody that's been involved with the sport and been a fan of the sport for a very long time. I'm not going to give my top 5 until closer to the end of the video. But just looking at the list, Brett Welkin, who unfortunately had some stomach issues, former Mr. Olympia, Big Ramy, Mamadou El Sabahi, he will not be competing. Hadi Chupan will be competing. And I've seen he is in Orlando, so he's had no problem getting here. He's been on Hadi Rambod's Instagram feed, training down in Texas as well. So he is probably the best embodiment of what a Mr. Olympia should be. He was ripped to the bone last year, plenty of muscle, decent shape, great condition. Okay, so he handedly won last year. Now, with that being said, we have to take a look at the second place finisher from last year, and that is Derek Lunsford. Okay, Derek has been training extremely hard, and if you followed any of his stuff from MI40 down in Tampa, Ben Pekulski's spot, you see he's put on quite a considerable amount of muscle, even at his huge advanced stage that he's at in his physique. He's managed to put on a little bit more size and fill out some areas that were lacking. Now, I think the question on everybody's mind when we look at Derek is, can he win? And the thought that I have is 100%. Absolutely he can. Without a shadow of a doubt, he can win. His back has improved. His condition is improved. Arguably, is probably going to be one of the harder guys, if not the hardest up on stage besides Hadi Chupan. So, with that being said, he's a very, very dangerous factor. And everyone knew that coming into the show. So I don't think people were chasing Hadi as much as they were trying to keep Derek at bay, because he's hungry to be Mr. Olympia. And he now has a child on the way, which I said in the TikTok video, when you now have to support a family, that fire is a little bit different. We saw it in Branch Warren. We saw it in Jay Cutler. We saw it in a lot of these guys that had family that they had to support, because now it's not just you. You now have somebody to answer to. And I think that's a very important factor in bodybuilding. But that's a whole other conversation in and of itself. So, who else do I see in that top three now that Nick Walker is out that can slide up in there? So, I now see Brandon Curry in that spot. And let me explain something to you. The top three this particular year, is not this is a solid third place, this is a solid second place, this is a solid first place. I see the top three as somebody, or as a group of people that can be interchangeable. In my opinion, that's how close they are. And that third spot is Brandon Curry, who's a one-time Mr. Olympia. Here's the thing that nobody is looking at when we look at Brandon's physique. The knock on him is condition from the back. He's gotten harder, he's gotten drier the older he has gotten. So now he's getting into the old man maturity range, because he's getting up there to be 40. I don't even think he's 40 yet, but now he's getting up there where he has that really dense, he's getting that grainy look. He's never been super dry, and you're probably not going to see that from a dark-skinned African-American bodybuilder. He's never been super dry, but I think he'll be in condition enough where he can contend for that title. I think he's going to be tight from head to toe. I think he's going to be full. He's going to be round. He's going to be hard. And I think he's going to contend to regain that Mr. Olympia spot. But again, with this year in particular, I think that you have the opportunity to have, I'm sorry, an alert just came on. Congratulations to the Texas Rangers for winning the World Series. I think you have the opportunity to have an interchangeable top three, and no one's really going to argue that you have that interchangeable top three. So Brandon Curry is somebody to look out for. Another gentleman that a lot of people saying that he could win the Mr. Olympia, and I think he has that potential to do it. Maybe even as soon as this year. I don't think this is this year. I want it to be this year, but now that the time has come, I'm not really sure that could happen. Is Samson Dauda. Here's the thing. And before you shoot me, I need you to understand this. Outside of a couple of people, the Arnold Classic winner, the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic winner from Columbus, Ohio, not any of these other ones, the winner of the Arnold Classic from Columbus, Ohio, usually falters when it comes to be Olympia time. We have seen it numerous times. We've seen it with Flex Wheeler year after year because, he won the Arnold. We've seen it most notably with Ronnie Coleman. If you do not believe me, look at the 2000 form, Arnold Classic form of Ronnie Coleman. And then look at the 2000 Olympia form of Ronnie Coleman. All right? It is a vast difference in conditioning, in size, in shape. 2001 Arnold Classic Ronnie Coleman and 2001 Olympia Ronnie Coleman. Vast, vast, vast difference. Any rendition of Jay Cutler where he's won the Arnold Classic, he's come in. Look, you may come in bigger, you may come in a little bit more shredded, but you're missing that oomph factor that it needs to win the Mr. Olympia. And I think Samson's going to come close to having that oomph factor, but he's going to miss it. Like, you have to understand that the pattern is there, and for him to be able to take it to the next level and win the Mr. Olympia, he has to be rested, right? And nowadays, in this placing landscape that the IFBB has, we're probably not going to see that because now guys are their hand is being forced to compete. So he's not going to have that year off that a Jay Cutler will have, or that year off that a Ronnie Flex, Kevin Levrone would have. Is just not going to happen anymore, just because of the landscape of getting guys to compete and having guys show up to all these shows that are on the calendar. You're not going to be able to see that. So we're not going to see a fully rested Samson Dauda. However, that doesn't mean that he won't be able to win the Olympia in the future. It's just that as it stands right now, and the precedent has been set by people before him, he will probably come in off this Olympia. It just is what it is. I'm not saying that to be malicious or anything like that. I'm just saying that the precedent is there with past champions who have been really, really good. Can he recover and win the Olympia this year? That's a high possibility. But again, precedent says no. One guy who will be competing the week after, or two guys that will be competing the week after, that could have been dark horses in this show, Behrooz Tabani and also Nathan Diasha. So we're not unfamiliar with Nathan's issue. He can't get his passport approval. Iran is not allowing Behrooz to compete. They're not allowing him to leave that section of the world that he's in. So he's getting ready for Romania for a title defense. I'm going to put it on record right now. If Behrooz gets a qualification, and if he is somehow able to fix his visa issue, he should not be in. A company needs to pick him up, and a company needs to sponsor him for the entire duration that he would be in America, and allow him to be able to eat, sleep, and train and promote and build a fan base over here, and also allow him to be able to compete at the Olympia, because it's an absolute travesty that he's not able to compete. I don't know who dropped the ball, whether it's his lawyer, whether it's the IFBB, whoever. He needs to be over here in America for the majority of 2024. Like, that's just 100% bottom line. If Behrooz can eventually get over here, I don't know who's sponsoring him now, but I think an American company or someone like Yamamoto needs to grab a hold of him and, like, for the rest of the year, like, just work through visa issues. Work through visa issues as much as you can, because I think he's got a great look. I think he's a certified moneymaker. If you got to get him a translator, find somebody. Promote the hell out of him. Help him so he can help you. And I know Milos is his trainer and has worked tirelessly to get him over here, but unfortunately it just didn't work out. So If by off chance somebody is listening to this, help that man, because he can help you promote your brand even more. Again, Nathan D'Asha, unable to compete due to I really don't know what it was. I know there was some talk of legal issues, but I don't think I don't know, so I'm not going to speak on it. I think he would have. I think he would have made a case for making top 5, most certainly top 10. But with him not being there, it does kind of suck. Because again, you see these guys lead up to these shows all year, and now they're unable to compete. It's kind of a bummer. I can't even imagine how the athlete feel. I know as a fan, it kind of sucks because he's actually one of my favorite pros. But again, he'll be going to Romania, and that looks to be a strong lineup too. Maybe I'll do an assessment video on that. Not too sure. So you have Samson. Who's next? Who could potentially be within that top 5? My next pick, Hunter Labrada. We've seen what he can do. We've seen what he brought to the Texas Pro. I think his condition, if it's otherworldly, it can net him a top 5 placing. We know him and his coach Ben Chow have made some changes as early as last year in regards to his contest prep. I believe he's eating food more, which, yes, the bro science does add up. It works if you eat more solid food. I know he was taking in a lot of shakes last few years, and it gave him kind of a soft appearance, but I don't think that is the what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think that's the case now. So with that being said, I think he's going to net a top 5 placing potentially. Who could upset that apple cart? Andrew Jacked. If you remember, Andrew Jacked beat him at the Texas Pro to make it 2 times that he's won that show. Hunter Labrada was in second place, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't have it out in front of me. But he's a guy that could upset that apple cart of placing within the top 5. Why don't I have him in my top 5? I'll explain to you why. He's a tall guy. There are a lot of holes within that physique. I think his legs could fill out a little bit more. I think his side shots could be a little bit more dominating. His back double bicep is great, but you can never have enough of a wider and thicker back. I think he could be a little bit more shredded. He's tight as a drum, which bodes well in favor. But with those little bitty holes that he has, I don't see him in the top 5, whereas Hunter is a bit of a shorter guy. He's maxed out his frame damn near. So he's got a lot of muscle. And all he has to do is just hone in that muscle even more. But I think I would put him as a lock for more of the top 5 than I would an Andrew Jack. But stranger things have happened. And Andrew Jack could be in that top 5 above him. We don't know. A couple of dark horses I want to get into before I close out this video. One is Regan Grimes. I was talking with a friend of mine, and the knock on Regan is that a lot of people just consider him as an Instagram bodybuilder. I don't know where this comes from. I don't know what hate people are lobbying to him. It may have been like that in the past. It is not like that now. That man is a full-grown bodybuilder, and he is housing fools. Whatever you want to say happened in overseas when him and Nathan competed, I personally had Regan. A lot of other people had Nathan. Regardless of that, he is a full-blown bodybuilder now. He's being coached very well, and he can take coaching very well. I think the knock on him is that he's still regarded as somebody who just does this for social media. He's still regarded as somebody that's just a pretty boy bodybuilder. This man is coming not to play. He is not playing with you guys. So if you think he's going to be a cakewalk at the Olympia, you probably got another thing coming. So you may want to walk that back a little bit for the simple fact that you may not end up winning that argument anymore. Another dark horse who I like is actually from Camp Jansen. That is Justin Shire. We've seen, if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, please forgive me. But we saw what he was capable of in Chicago at the Chicago Pro, which he won very convincingly. I think his shape is great. I think his mass is great. I think his proportions are great. I don't think he has the maturity or the density to be able to make a dent to get into that top 5, but he can make a claim for that top 10. So that's another guy to watch, and I think that he'll bring something very, very cool to the stage. Other guys that are competing, and I'm getting this list from Barbend, Charles Griffin. Charles Griffin looks really good as well. I'm not sure if he's going to be top 10, but that's always the goal. There is a possibility because he's tight as a drum. He's in condition. So I will actually link a story that my place of employment did on him. A great reporter by the name of David Schumann was able to get that, and I think that he's going to do very well. Roman Fritz, who I like, but I don't think he'll be able to, again, break that top 5 or definitely not that top 10. Some honorable mentions that could upset that top 10 or could upset the apple cart, or at least just make a name for themselves at this Olympia is Tonio Burton and Ross Flanagan. I like Ross Flanagan's physique a lot. He won the Cal Pro this year. I think he's a funny guy. I think he's a guy that really works hard, and I think he'll make a name for himself as someone to watch on this Olympia stage. Same thing for Tonio. He's not super tall, but he has very much a William Bonac type frame, and he's somebody that I enjoy watching compete. He won the New York Pro in his weight in the open class. So I think he's going to do very, very well, especially if he comes in condition. This is probably one of the best Olympia lineups I've ever seen. So I'm very much looking forward to Saturday. I haven't been able to touch on Classic, and I haven't been able to touch on 212. I don't want this video to be too long, but I think you could put Sean Clarita and Chris Bumstead as locks, even with in the Classic division. Urs competing Miracle Bear, and I think Ramon is still competing as well. I just think that Chris is just too much of a juggernaut to overcome, and we really don't even need to talk about Sean. I mean, the work speaks for itself. And again, he's a guy that has a family now and a move from New Jersey to Texas, and he's building a gym. Like, he's fighting for a lot, and that fire is a little bit different. So again, I look forward to the entire competition landscape, even some of the women that are competing. Sydney Gillian going up for another figure Olympia is just such a great weekend, and I'm glad us bodybuilding fans get to take part in it, whether we watch it on Instagram, whether we order the pay-per-view. I encourage you all to order the pay-per-view, support the sport, but I think it's just a great weekend for all of us. So we've come to the end of the video. If you fast forwarded through me just talking, we've come to the end of the video, and now I'm going to give my top 5. So my top 5, and I'm going to give this in a particular order, and I'm going to give you an alternate top 5. My first top 5, it is going to be Derek, Hottie, Brandon, Samson, Hunter. That's my first top 5. My second top 5, Brandon, Derek, Hottie, Samson, Hunter. If you notice, I only really have, again, it's interchangeable. You can make a case for Hottie winning as well, but I think out of the Olympia competitors that we have, I think the one that may stand out the most in my eyes, and I've been wrong more than one time, I think Brandon can make a case for winning. I think Derek is going to make a strong case for winning. I think Hadi has maxed out his frame, and I think that one Olympia that we saw, I think that's it for him. But that's just my opinion. I don't think Samson moves. I don't think Hunter moves. I think they stay where they're at, and I think that's fine for this year, given the circumstances of they've had long preps and they haven't had the opportunity to really rest for a full year because they had to requalify. And that's probably going to be what we see going forward, again, with how the IFBB is structuring shows and structuring placings, because, again, it used to be the top 5 that requalified in the Open Olympia. Now it's only the top 3, and that's going to be a pain in the ass for anybody that doesn't place within that top 3. So that's just my opinion. But guys, if you've been watching this, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you hanging with me. Thanks. Shout out to Barbin for putting this. If you see me looking off screen, I'm looking at the list that they've compiled together of everyone that qualified for the Olympia. Again, if you made the Olympia and I didn't mention you, please, it's just my opinion. I don't want any smoke over this. That's why I kind of stopped doing a lot of them, because a lot of the assessments that are out there or have been out there, not just by me, but by other people, we structure truth as rudeness, and that's not the case. I want everybody to understand that I'm just giving my opinion. My opinion is not right, nor is it wrong, unless I'm told otherwise by judges on Saturday night. So I just want everyone to understand that if I didn't mention you, please, or I didn't put you in a particular place and where you thought you were, please understand it ain't personal. I don't know you. I may be a fan of you, but I don't know you. So just understand that this is just my opinion, and that is what it is. But again, thank you for watching this video. I highly appreciate it. Y'all have a great one. Please support the sport, get the pay-per-view, and we'll all watch it and get there together. And if you can't get the pay-per-view, there's numerous Instagram accounts that'll be up updating stuff. So please support them, give them a like, give them a follow, give them a share. It takes nothing to support a small business or entrepreneur on the grind in this sport, which we all know bodybuilding is a giant hustle. So please help those who support the sport. Until next time, thank you, and we'll bring you some more opinion and analysis and training soon. All right? Y'all have a good one.